Okay, in 1989, I was working 2 years at Addy, half-time, and the other half-time was with Aldus Corporation. Paul Brainerd was the CEO. Paul Brainerd had invented Pagemaker, the first computerized
word processing.
Thank you. Yeah. For instance, Atlantic Monthly or some magazine came out, totally done not with typesetting but with Pagemaker. It was a big deal. Well, competitors came into the field, so when Aldus went for Pagemaker 5.0, they came out 9 months late, and that coincided with Paul Brainerd hiring Patricia and I again to giving us an office there for, again, half-time for 2 years to work specifically on the Pagemaker 6.0. Now, there were a lot of great people in that company, but the thing that they didn't know some things about product development or project management that most people don't know. In fact, in my work at Pico Energy with 27 project managers,
that was a nuclear power plant.
That was a nuclear power plant. I developed the whole thing, which we have articles on in the appendix of our book, on the cultural change book, of how
That's okay.
what we call missing elements. That's it. Missing elements in project management. Now let me name some of them and come back to Aldus here in the software development. For one thing, they would develop a timeline. But I'm doing this up here. No, they developed it in their little computer. So we helped them develop it so it was visible, that people could see it. Not only that, it was a dynamic timeline, which means it was on one of those wonderful things that you can print these big things on and change it all the time. So, for instance, if there were things to be done in, let's say, January up here, once they're done, now they're starred. If they're not starred, it means they weren't done. And this poster is here, and it's over in that department, and it's over in that department. But there's a lot more than that. There's a poster. It's not just about posters.
But everybody can see what it sounds like, can see where we are.
That's right.
Not just where we are in our department, but where the other departments
That's right.
Which I imagine creates a kind of an accountability that's...
In software development, it's the whole company. I mean, it's cross departments, finance is involved, marketing is involved, everybody has a stake in it. Okay, a second thing was then we helped them develop who will do what by when. So in this chart you would see not only what had to be done, but you would see the name of somebody, single point accountability. And I can tell you that people step up and want their name there because they care about that issue. When we've done this with steelworkers, the steelworkers are the first to want to get their names up there. I want to take responsibility for that getting done. So here with these, in the software development, you had a whole chart, let's say 9 months out or 8 months out or so, and you knew exactly what was going to happen each month. You knew the single point person that anybody in the company could ask, how's it going? Now that single point person wasn't the boss, but they were given authority to carry this. Now the third thing that people didn't know there was there are always stuck points. They didn't know what to do about it. On 5.0, obviously there were stuck points. One of the big stuck points was who decides what features go in. I mean, really, basically, one engineer can take, this is a good feature, and put it in. Another VP goes off to a conference and comes back and says, this has got to be in. Somebody puts it in. Well, that's crazy making. So we developed a list, and you're looking at it now. It's of stuck points, single point accountability stuck points. And at Aldus, we happen to develop a list of 20 of those. 20 points where, like features, 20 points where on 5.0, we would delay decisions and argue and everything else. here we had not only the 20 points, but there were several columns here, and you're seeing them. I'm only going to mention, I think, one other. Who decides? Who decides? In other words, and at first people would say, well, the VP needs to decide this. Wait a minute. Is the VP know the most about this? Are they on top of this? Is this the person, if it's your money, that you want to come in and learn a little and decide? And eventually we had the names of people, even software developers who weren't supervisors on that, who decides. Now, there's another column, said I wasn't going to mention more columns, but you see the column that says, who must they consult with prior to it? It's not a who do you wish they would, who must you consult with prior to that decision. So, but what we developed then was this 20 items there, and with that kind of clarity, they moved right along. Clarity about who decides, and of course, given authority, Paul Brainerd eventually had to say to everyone, hey, yeah, I give this authority to these people for this. Incidentally, Paul also then got together all 1,000 people in his company. We went to Scotland, went to Ireland. Of course, the majority of them were in Seattle. 2 other sites, one in California, one, I think, I'm right, in Texas. But we went to all these places, and with the big chart, with the whole story, spent a day teaching them about change management, how it's affecting this project, and 6.0 came out on time.